Activating launch sequence. In 3, 2, 1. Psykinetic launch.
Please welcome your host for this morning, founder and CEO of Psykinetic, Dr. Jordan Nguyen.
Hello. How are we all doing today? Good. Angus is good. How are we up the back there? Woo! But thank you so much for coming along today and welcome to the launch of something that has been in the works for a lot of years. We've been working on these technologies for quite a long time, and I want to take you through what we've been working on, the main projects that are coming forward today. I want to pay a quick tribute to the late Stephen Hawking. He is someone who is just he made his mark on the world, didn't he? And although it was shattering to hear the news a few weeks back, I think the world was just so lucky to have him for as long as we did. So he said, the intelligence is the ability to adapt to change. And that is so true. We're living at the fastest rate of change the world has ever seen. We're also living at the slowest rate we ever will see. So how do we adapt to that change? How do we take into account these changes in technology, the changes in society, and see how we can move into a better future together? And this is what Psykinetic is all about. So I'm going to quickly take you through a bit of the background of how we got to this point in time. So very quickly, my mum is Australian, Aussie, Scottish. She's right here up in the front of the crowd. She is an artist, a very beautiful, social, compassionate person. My father, who couldn't be here today, he's out in Melbourne doing lots of busy things. My dad is a professor. He's been an amazing inspiration all of my life. Designing technologies, I've been able to see the incredible advancements that he has designed for many different sectors. And so I had a bit of a different upbringing to a lot of other kids in the 80s, getting to share my toys with robots. But what happened was I ended up moving into electrical engineering, hoping to sort of find my pathway to work on the sort of technologies my dad got to work on. But at the same time, I didn't have any real drive or purpose. It was my third year of university that I had a diving accident. I'm not going to go into it, but I had a diving accident which changed everything for me. Basically starting to wake up to my own reality and start to think about what life would be like if I had broken my neck diving into this pool. What I decided to do was to start learning a little bit more about even my own country. Now what I found is 1 in 5 Australians have some form of a disability, and 1.4 million Australians, that's 1.4 million, that's like 1 in 18. 1 in 18 Australians have severe or profound disability, as given by the Australian Bureau of Statistics. Now, this was a staggering statistic for someone who didn't know anything about the sector at all. So what I did was I went out and met people. And it was the people who started inspiring me. Why? Because I was finding people who were more motivated, who were more driven, who were doing more with their life than I was. And you're going to meet some of these amazing people today. So what I ended up going on to was to use this newfound inspiration to work with friends, and it just kept growing. This group of friends just kept growing. So I worked on a mind-controlled smart wheelchair for my PhD. I basically worked on that for the next 5 years, and this is the wheelchair. It can see and think for itself. The idea was that the wheelchair was a robot. It uses cameras to perceive its environment, and so the wheelchair can navigate and make sure that the travel's safe, but it's using a brain-computer interface as well that we developed at UTS. So this has A headband has some electrodes inside the headband. I learned all of this stuff from my father, and it picks up the electrical activity of the brain. Little bits of electrical activity, it amplifies the signal, filters it, allows you to do things like control a wheelchair. So how do we control it through the different signals of the brain? We use artificial intelligence, and this is one of the cool things about artificial intelligence, is that it's very good at finding patterns in data. So we developed our own AI algorithms. What it meant was you're able to focus on different thoughts to move the wheelchair in different directions, and the wheelchair would take over and make the travel safe. So that was the starting point of a very big journey. Although it took me 5 years to get to that point where my mate Albert was steering this wheelchair in this video, we've come a long way since then. What I wanted to do was to find out what is happening in the world, where is technology taking us, and how can we apply that to solving new challenges. Now, I got to travel a year and a half ago with Steve Wozniak. Now, I'd been on this journey sort of seeing the different technologies out in the world, from artificial intelligence to robotics to biomedical equipment, looking into things even like blockchain, nanotechnology, starting to find out where are these links, where are these new innovations, and how are they going to change everything. When it came to Steve Wozniak, being at the starting point of the computing revolution, I mean, he's the pioneer of the personal computing revolution, being the co-founder of Apple. Basically, what happened was we went on this little journey, all the way from the personal computing revolution through to the internet revolution. Something interesting happened in between. There was a lot of investment in the late 80s, early 90s that went into virtual reality. And although it wasn't the right time, it sort of died out at the time. Can I just get a quick show of hands? Did anyone try VR in the late 80s, early 90s? Yes! Oh, wow, this is the most I've ever seen. Yeah, the big headsets, clunky things that give you a headache, but you thought this was the future. It was the future. At the same time, who has tried virtual reality at all? Let's have a show of hands. Wow. Okay, hands up if you haven't. Hands up if you haven't. Okay, there's a couple of my friends there. This is terrible. You're going to have to try virtual reality. Okay, we're going to have to change this. VR is one of those things where it's like you see someone in a headset and you think you know what it's like, you just don't. It's a neurological trick. And it came about from smartphones. So like I said, we had the personal computing revolution, internet revolution. We later got smartphones, and that was great. That was a massive convergence of technologies. We got computing power in this, we got the internet, we got mobile phones, we got the ability to do so many things. We got an IMU in it, which allows it to track its own movements and angle. So when you take all those things and put this in a headset, strap it to your face, when you're seeing the virtual world in one direction, you turn your head, it pans the screen really quickly. It gives you the feeling of being in an environment, so you can look in any direction. Now that is a very powerful thing. We've found that this isn't just in entertainment and gaming. I got to do this documentary with ABC last year called Meet the Avatars. We actually have one of our stars of Meet the Avatars right here, Angus McConnell here in the front row. Now, Meet the Avatars, we went on this huge journey to see all the different impacts of virtual reality. But one of the most inspiring stories was Angus was seeing how VR can be used in rehabilitation. So this is the sort of thing that we're talking about. Technology is taking us into these new areas that we've never seen before. So Angus, if you don't mind me sharing your story, you didn't know this was going to happen. But Angus had a bike accident. How long ago was it? 5 years ago. Had a bike accident. And can you tell us what it left you with?
A C7 complete quadriplegic. C7's the vertebrae that gets broken just at the base of my neck here. So effectively I'm a quadriplegic, which means all four limbs are affected. So that's me clenching fists, if you can see those. They don't clench properly because some of the nerves don't fire to me. So.
Up until now, we've been told that if you have a spinal cord injury, a complete severing of the spinal cord, as the diagnosis said, you will never do things like feel your feet again. This is what happened in this documentary. We got to see Angus using virtual reality in his therapy, where you see that you're climbing a mountain, climbing Mount Everest, and focusing on that rather than focusing on the actual therapy itself. This was one of the most amazing things I've ever seen. This is what happened when we were told that Angus would attempt to stand for us.
Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on.
No, no. Okay. Just no. Can you get me back? Yep. Just need to come forward on that chair.
Yep. You're right, bud.
Good.
Get some pop.
Show your guns off.
Okay, so come in really tight. You ready?
While the electrical stimulation straightens his legs, actually getting upright is all down to Angus.
Come on, Angus. How you going? Okay, it's yours. Hips.
Smooth.
Hey, that's better. Keep it up, huh? Yep, hips forward, hips. Yes.
I thought that was absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. That has gone against everything we've ever known about spinal cord injury. So this is the idea that technology is making us redefine our science, redefine our understanding, redefine our communities and our society. So why don't we move and change together? And this is incredible. This is the idea of Psykinetic. What we decided to do with Psykinetic was to keep moving. Now, I did start Psykinetic originally to commercialize the smart wheelchair research and try and get it out to the people. Then we moved into other areas of hardware design, which I'll show a little bit of today as well. But we went from there into starting to look into software. We thought if we already have an existing community and we already have equipment around the world that can help out, well, why don't we just harness that? The things that are already off the shelf, the technologies that people can already access, why don't we design something that can get out there very quickly? So we moved into software over the last 2 years. Now with a tablet PC or a real PC running Windows and something as small as an eye tracker, these little devices, this one is made by Tobii, it's part of their Dynavox series, and this is something that our software is going to be compatible with. Now, what happens is you put this tiny little device onto your tablet PC or your computer, and it tracks your eye movements. It looks at where you're looking at on the screen. So it recognizes where you're looking at on the screen, you can move cursors, and that's an incredible thing. But what we decided to do was to move into a range of software that can support these types of technologies, that can work with these technologies, and that's what we're going to release today. So I'm going to introduce you bit by bit to my amazing team at Psykinetic. We have a small team, but we do a lot with that small team, and honestly feels more like a family. We're a very close bunch. We work really hard. We work on massive projects together, and I've got to say, I'm just so lucky and so privileged to have such an amazing, passionate, talented team who have been with me every step of the way. So what we're going to do today is to release a couple of our first products, our first flagship products. Now the first one is called Psykinetic Frontier. Now Frontier came about during my first documentary, and that was called Becoming Superhuman. So this was done with the ABC. I went on this amazing journey with this young mate of mine, Riley, and we were told by Riley's mother that due to his cerebral palsy, he was always fascinated with technology, and as we talked to Riley, we could see that. We got to know him. He's an awesome young guy who you're about to meet. Now, what his mum said was that he was looking at the lights when he was young, trying to make them turn on. He was looking at the TV and trying to make it change channel. But what happened was one day the TV changed, and he thought it was him. And so he told everyone that he had a superpower. So this is where the name Becoming Superhuman came from. We said, let's create this. We're going to create it on TV because we're going to show that journey. We're going to take people and the audience on that journey of creation of technology, because it's never easy. Any project that we take on, there's highs, there's lows, and you've got to be able to see that it doesn't just magically appear. There's a lot of work that goes into it, and a lot of dedication from many people. So we went on this massive journey with Riley to get him to achieve his ideas of controlling the lights, controlling the TV. And when I asked him at this point in time, what would you do if you could control anything? He said, I'd like to drive a car. And I went, shit. What about a toy car? He loved the idea, but I said, we've got to think big. In this day and age, we've got to think big. So I called up my producer, I said, we're going to drive a car. So we managed to get an off-road buggy sent over from Perth. We all worked really hard. Riley started practicing with this tool that we created with him. It's a headband that picks up the electrical signals of your eyes, because every time you move your eyes, your brain sends electrical signals to the little muscles that push and pull the eyes. So just like the brain-computer interface I was working with in the wheelchair, what's amazing is that we are an electrical system. we operate on electricity. So the brain sends electrical signals to the eyes to push and pull the muscles. We're intercepting those signals. We built the headband, worked with Riley, and you'll see the dedication in this as he achieved his dream of driving a vehicle. Now in this vehicle, he wanted to make it all the way from the start to the end in a single run. Take a look at this. Good to go. 3, 2, 1. Go. Take it easy. Take it easy. Forward. Forward. Take it easy. Take it easy. Nice. 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 Keep it straight. Keep it straight. Keep it straight. Right. Yeah! We did it! Up, up, up. Oh, buddy. Oh, my God. You drove a car. Oh, my God. We got there. Everyone, please welcome to the stage Riley Sabin. Hey, buddy. How you doing? Take your spot up here. I'm gonna grab a chair. Awesome. Okay, so what happened during that documentary? This little champion here, he absolutely killed it. It was so great to be able to work on this project together, and I'm going to actually let Riley take you through our flagship product of Frontier. Now, what happened with Frontier was that while we were doing this documentary, you know, Riley had an eye-controlled communication device, and it was a great device, and it still is. We could just see that we wanted to make it faster, and that was basically it. So that little project after becoming superhuman of trying to make this faster is where this started from. And you know what? I'm just going to let Riley tell you about it.
Hey everyone, are you excited about today? I certainly know I am. My name is Riley Sabin. I'm in year 9, attending a mainstream high school in northern New South Wales. Play a sport called bocce at a national level. I love computers, my phone, and generally anything to do with technology, especially inclusive technology. Back in 2015, it either was fate or pure luck which allowed Jordan and myself to cross paths. From day one, I knew that this was the type of person I wanted to work with and learn from. I had no idea the scale of what was soon to follow. The success of the Becoming Superhuman series really opened my eyes to what is possible when smart minds come together and dedicate themselves to a particular cause. I never really thought Jordan would take me seriously when I told him I wanted to drive a car. Yet for weeks later, I was screaming through an obstacle course using nothing but my eyes to navigate the buggy with Jordan yelling in my ear, "Go mate, you can do it." Fast forward 2 years and here I am today, very much part of that dedicated team, presenting something which I believe to be a game changer. Jordan and the team have developed software which will improve the quality and speed of conversations around the world. I know firsthand the importance of keeping up with general conversation when using a communication device. Frontier ticks all the boxes. Psykinetic Frontier communication software has a lot of features. Starting with eye control, will move into and later become controlled by many different inputs. But here is essentially how it works. We have 3 different levels to choose from: beginner, turbo, and superhuman. These 3 separate levels work kind of like a game. Level 1 or beginner uses what is called gaze time, which is a standard way of controlling something, like a keyboard, with your eyes. You use this by looking at any individual key on the keyboard for around about a second, and then the key is selected, like this. As you can see, this is continued until your words and sentences are written. Level 2 or turbo ups the speed. This takes a bit more practice. In this mode, you only have to use the gaze time on the first letter of each new word. Once that first letter is selected, then you can move through and as quick as your eyes can go between the different letters in that word, and you'll see the word appear in that white box as you finish. Then we have level 3 or superhuman mode, named after me. This is the fastest keyboard with, which also takes the most practice to get to be an advanced user. Here, you need to hold gaze time for the first letter of the entire piece being written. After the first key is selected, then you can move as quickly as you can around the keys, and even between each word. Using Psykinetic unique technology, you look up the text box as the word fills itself in, and then you can move straight into typing in the next letter with your eyes without slowing down. This has had recorded speeds of up to and exceeding average typing speeds, with the fastest recorded speed being 44 words per minute. To push the limits of this, we have also gamified the experience to make learning to type fun. So in addition to the keyboard, we've included gamified challenge sections for each keyboard. In this challenge, you will be given a sentence to type out. Use that to type as quickly as you possibly can. Once you are done, scores are brought together, taking into account speed and mistakes, and a score will be given to you. I like challenging my personal best, and we even have a global leaderboard. Those people close to me understand just how competitive I can be. My personal goal is to beat my software developer, Nick Temple. He has the highest score to date, but not for long. Nick, please look at me. I'm coming for you. No. Without the right tools, I couldn't be doing the things I am today. I look forward to continuing my work with the Psykinetic team and support them in developing more amazing products for people in need. I love that inclusive technology has come so far in such a short amount of time. It blows my mind to try and comprehend what will be achieved in my lifetime.
Thank you to Riley Sabin. Another round of applause. What an absolute legend. This was such an amazing adventure, the adventure we went on that started this journey of Frontier, and it's so great to be able to show you this today. So that was a pre-recording, getting to see how the eyes are moving around the screen. So wherever the person is looking on the screen, that's where the gaze point is. But it's the sort of thing that we've been working on for quite a while. It's been almost two years working on Frontier, and so it's been amazing to show you that today. So that's our first product. Thanks to Riley Sabin again. So that was Frontier. That was the main thing. I mean, communication is so important, it's so crucial, it's so fundamental to us in how we connect. So that was the first thing that we wanted to do, was to try and speed up communication. And we've gone back and forth constantly with Riley. He's been an amazing part of our team to help not only inspire the products, but to work on them with us. So this brings us to our second flagship product, which we have named Psykinetic Atmosphere. Now, Atmosphere is a music tool. It's a music tool that you can, again, play with your eyes. So the idea behind all of these things is that we're starting with eye trackers, like this small thing that can be connected to a computer, but it will also start to evolve over time with our customers, and we'll move into things like switch operation, being able to control it with a switch, being able to control it through voice, being able to control it through a brain-computer interface. We'll keep advancing what we call interfaces, the way that we connect with the computer. But for now, everything we're showing you is eye-controlled, and we're about to get a live demo using this computer here, Tobii Dynavox. This one is called the iMobile Mini, is connected to the front of this, and we're going to get a demonstration. So I'd like to welcome to the stage our rock star, Jess Irwin. Now, if you've had the privilege of hearing Jess perform, Jess inspired us to not only create this device, but to actually work on getting it moved into different events. Jess has so far played at the Opera House in 2016 using Atmosphere. She played, what was it, last year in front of a crowd of 3,500 people at Telstra Vantage, and it's been absolutely awesome the entire time. Going to get set up now, and we're going to have the privilege of hearing from Jess Irwin and the amazing Steve Balby, an absolute rock legend from Noiseworks and from many more things since then. But that's where the story starts, actually, for Atmosphere, because not long after Jess and I met, which was around about 6 years ago, as you can tell from our haircuts. She'll tell you more about this story afterwards. But not long after that, we started going to rock concerts together. We realised that we had a bit of a common interest in sort of old school rock, and when it was done really, really well. And so we went and saw Steve Balby a bunch of times, but one of the times, Jess is also a photographer, an incredible photographer, and in the visuals you're going to see, in this next performance, you're going to see Jess's photography right there. So we went to Steve's performance, Jess was doing the photography, but we got there a little bit late, which is very much not my style, if anyone knows me. So, I'm late to everything. Anyway, so what happened was, we got there late, there was a crowd in front of us, and I started pushing people out of the way, going, I'm sorry, we're trying to get Jess through to the front so she can see the stage. And we were moving through, and I was saying, I'm sorry, people, because I knew that I was very tall, and so that was the problem. I'm sitting there going, I'm sorry. And as I'm sort of apologising to the people in the front row who we just pushed past, I could feel her chair rising, which I didn't know it could do. And her chair, Jess has gone and risen her chair, and she's all the way up here, and I'm going, cool, and I've just sort of sunk back into the crowd. So what happened after that, I could see that Jess just wanted to be up there playing music, and we talked about it, and we said one day this will happen, but Jess can tell you more about that later. Let's hear from Jess Irwin and Steve Balby. This is their first single. It's a reimagining of the song Winners. It's called Winners Psykinetic Remix with Jess Irwin and Steve Balby.
game. At times we fall into the arms of defeat. Sometimes we carry on. We've got everything to lose, and so we fight the good fight, the good fight. Everyone's a winner sometimes. Everybody loses sometimes. If you try, then it's alright. Gonna love you in Phoenix star is tattooed on our heart. Beating the pain, don't have to run. Yes, it's time to start. So we win the good fight. Everyone's a winner sometimes. Yes, everybody loses sometimes. If you try, then it's alright. Everybody loses sometimes. If you try, then it's alright. Yes, and I love you. Sometimes you win, and sometimes you lose. Yeah. Sometimes you win. Gonna love you when you lose. Thank you, people. Jess Owen. It's been quite a privilege, very humbling to be able to collaborate with Jess and make that piece of music happen. I think, without further ado, would you like to say some words, Jess?
I first met Dr. Jordan Ewan 5 years ago, intrigued by his keynote on his innovations. I proceeded to corner him and bombard him with questions. And that was the beginning of an amazing friendship and my involvement with Psykinetic as their web developer and eye control musician. I consider myself extraordinarily lucky to have an army of the greatest mentors behind me. One of these amazing humans is Steve Balby. I attended a show 5 years ago where Steve was performing, and every time he came on stage, he had the audience's sole attention. I thought, this dude is just as bizarre as me. How is that even possible? And I knew I had to meet this captivating performer because I just knew something massive would stem from it. And it did. Steve and I always entertained the idea that one day I would join him on stage. But realistically, we both knew that that would be physically impossible. Then Dr. Jordan attended a gig and saw firsthand how strong my desire was to join Steve. So Jordan went away and made it his goal to make this happen. And he did. This was the first step of the creation of the Psykinetic eye-controlled instrument called Atmosphere. As you have just witnessed, Atmosphere tracks my eye movements and blinks. There is a pie circle that is divided into 12 segments, and each segment represents an individual note or sound sequence. To select a sound, I look at it and blink. So, making an individual sound isn't that hard, but to do an entire performance requires an extremely good memory because I can't look away from the screen whilst playing with my eyes. You tend to really strengthen your peripheral vision the more performances you do. Furthermore, to be able to physically play in time takes an extraordinary amount of energy to attempt to control involuntary muscle spasms whilst keeping count. We have had some very funny moments along the way developing techniques to try and control spasms. I love how one piece of software can be so diverse. Jordan started me off with classical music, and I've had the honour of playing many gigs with the Australian Piano Quartet. And then Steve and I delivered a unique orchestral rock show at Telstra Vantage 2017. And today's creative collaboration premieres the alt-electro-pop reimagination of Steve Balby's Winners, which will be released as a single with Steve, my debut single, on Social Family Records this coming Monday, the 16th of April. Also, in the near future, we'll be able to use the Psykinetic Atmosphere as a MIDI controller to create new compositions in Pro Tools together. Really excited about that one.
Well, there you go. That's pretty amazing. I guess this is the place right here where the human spirit and technology meets, and you know, the possibilities are limitless. And apart from, like, while I was working with Jess, apart from realising that she is the most irreverent person I've ever met in my life, it's been great fun to get to know her. But I cast my thoughts to so many people out there with this disability, with a disability that, and having the gift of music inside them. And that's now changed. That's totally changed. I've got the gift of music and I could make it since I was a little kid. And Jess has had the gift of music and now she can make it. So it's pretty incredible what we're witnessing here.
I'm really excited about the launch of this product. To give someone the ability to play music is something really special. I can't wait to jam with more eye-controlled musicians and see what they bring to the table. Music is not just about a cool, groovy beat. At first you sit back going, ah, that sounds pretty cool. And then you add a piece of you to that beat and suddenly your inner voice takes the stage. That's an awesome moment.
I think that's about it. I think we get the good doctor back up on stage.
Oh my God, that was amazing. Everybody, please, another round of applause for Jess Irwin and Steve Dalby. And that is Atmosphere. Wow. So being able to utilise the technology, I mean, we don't know anyone who can use it as well as Jess, so what we've already found is there's many people who are looking up to Jess as the rock star they would like to be, and it's, as you got to witness, an amazing thing to see and to listen to. We're all looking forward to the album. Everybody, one last round of applause. Thank you so much. Wow, so that was Atmosphere. Now, Atmosphere is a tool that you can customize. You can put your own sounds into each of those different segments, and it's something that you can start to build your own music for. So that's an exciting thing. But that brings us to our last and major flagship product. We've named it Stargaze. Now, what Stargaze is, it's been an evolution of different software ideas. What we wanted to do was to get Atmosphere, was to get Frontier onto a computer and allow anyone who's using the tool to be able to move in and out of those different applications. Because we've also started building games and other things like that. But what we wanted to do was to create a launcher, something that you could launch those tools yourself. And then we realized it could be bigger than that. We realized it could also be something where we push new ideas, new concepts, new programs and apps to that particular launcher. And then we went, actually, why don't we just make this an entire store? So we created a new app store. First app store to be eye controlled, to be switch operated, to be brain-computer interface controlled. Initially starting out with eye control, but it's an entire app store that you can go and independently have a look, create your own profiles, look at what programs are coming out, both the things that we're creating at Psykinetic and the collaborations that we're having with other groups at external. We're going to start working with many different groups to say, how can we make your software accessible? How can we make your software inclusive? So that is anything from educational software to games to things like the programs that we use to help us run our businesses. And having such business savvy people like Jess, who was running her own business before I even met her, professional photographer, graphics designer, website designer, running her own business. We're so lucky to have her as our web designer now. So if you go to our website, that's Jess. And it's incredible. So what we've got is Stargaze. Now I'm going to bring to the stage our CTO, the amazing, incredibly talented Nicholas Temple. Everyone, round of applause for Nick Temple. Now this guy here has been with me on many journeys, many adventures, and he's just an absolute legend. He's family to me. Now, Nick is going to take you through how the Stargaze platform works, because this is our game-changing product. Like I've said, it's a launcher, it's a store, but we're going to have to show you to allow you to sort of see it and get it. Now, because Stargaze is software, and this software lives in the cloud, that sometimes I find a little bit confusing. I think a lot of people are still wrapping their head around what the cloud is. You know, cloud is just sort of somewhere up there. But what it is just servers that are nowhere near you. They store your data, they provide you with incredible computing power, they provide you with different applications, things like artificial intelligence, things like some of the services that we use. But to sort of visualize it, we decided to create a mothership, sort of a three-dimensional graphics made. It's all computer graphics, don't worry, we don't actually own our own mothership. But that is called Stargaze. It's a mothership that lives in the cloud. It's something that we can visualize because people are going to connect with this thing, connect with this platform from all around the world, and it's going to allow us to connect with our communities all over the world. So as people start putting their software up onto this mothership, it will deploy straight to the people. So what you need to do is you download Stargaze, and this is your portal into everything that we're designing and every collaboration that we have. And Nick is going to show you this now as we bring it up on the screen. This is Stargaze. Now, with eye control, we're currently using an iMobile Mini from the Tobii Dynavox range, but Nick is going to take you through this. So you create your own profile, like any other type of app or app store. So you create your own profile, you can do that with your eyes. So you can go to sign up for a new account. You go from there to sign in once you've got your account made. Nick is going to show you this using the base keyboard, the beginner keyboard from our Frontier software. So it's a gaze time on each individual key so that you can make sure that the accuracy is there. So you put in your username, you put in your password. Now Nick is going to sign into this and show you the Stargaze platform. So once you've signed in to Stargaze, you can have access to the full range of Psykinetic products and all the products with all the different people and groups that we're going to be working with. How do we do that? Well, we do that through a store. So you've got your library, and that's the products that you already have and you've already downloaded. If you go to the store, you'll see that anything new that comes up, you can find it on the store, you can independently access it, you can download it. Basically, it means that you don't always need someone doing that for you, and I think that's going to be crucial. It's the sort of thing that we've been talking about with Jess and Riley and all the other friends that we've got who might use this system one day and who have already started playing around with it and testing it out. So once you've downloaded your software, you go into the library, and once you go into your library, you can see all the software that you have. Here we have Frontier and Atmosphere, and Nick will show you how it launches. So you go over, you can open the applications yourself. Eye control on the gaze hold on the actual application, and the application will open. So this is how we open Frontier. From Frontier, you can move through, you can go into whichever level keyboard. As you heard from Riley, Nick is our highest score holder. So he's got to show off some of his eye control skills here to show you how fast this keyboard is. Right? You heard Riley's coming for you, though. When we told Riley how fast Nick could type, he didn't believe it, and he goes, "All right, I'm going to beat that one day." So you can go out of this this tool, you can delete it. It's a keyboard, it's a QWERTY keyboard. The reason we designed it as a QWERTY keyboard is that everyone understands it, and that was what we wanted to do. We want to just set it up so that anyone can understand it. You take this thing to school, the teachers will understand how it works, and you can also just switch over to controlling it with a mouse if you need to, but you can control it through any sort of interface device. For now, we're starting with eye control. So once you're done using the communication device, just say you want to play some music, you can switch out of that, go back into Stargaze, open up the music tool, open up Atmosphere, and start playing music. I think he's going to trigger something. There you go. Not quite as good as Jess, but give it a chance. So you can see in this, every key that's pressed, you blink on, and that's what triggers each individual music key. So we've got a game. We've got a game. We can. What you can do is, once we start putting out more of our products, you can download them from the store. We're going to have a game that goes out for free with the Stargaze Hub, and we're going to make all of these things available in 3 weeks. So there's going to be a countdown that's going to start straight after this event. During that time, we're going to finalise our products, and we're going to make everything downloadable and ready to go to market in exactly 3 weeks. There'll be a big countdown timer on our website, but this is the Stargaze platform. Now, we also have a community section, and this will allow our communities to post using, again, the on-screen keyboard, be able to post and just have a community forum, connect with people, connect with families all around the world. We also have a news section, so anything that we think is newsworthy, we'll write our own blog posts and get them out there. And then we've got a feedback section, which is really important because these products aren't perfect, but they'll definitely keep moving towards that direction. So what we want to do is to work with our communities around the world, get feedback as to how we can improve our devices, how we can keep building more features into it. We'll listen to our communities, and we'll work with them to improve all of the different products we have. The cool thing is, if we make an update to Frontier or Atmosphere or any other product, then what we can do is send an update onto your library. Your library shows up that you have an update available. You download it, and you get the update as long as you subscribe to it. It's pretty cool stuff. I don't know what you're doing now. But that is... Oh, you're sending some feedback, are you? So that is the Stargaze platform. Everyone, thank you to Nick for helping out. An unbelievable talent. Unbelievable talent. Hold up. Thank you so much. He is the mastermind behind so many of the things that we do. Just incredible. We will bring out the team shortly, but they are the products. We have those few collaborations, compatibility with the Tobii eye trackers. We have in the Dynavox range. We have a connection with Acapella for Frontier. So Acapella is a group that make lots of different voices. So when you download Frontier and you type, you can go to the little icon that allows you to speak, and you can actually choose from a huge range of different voices. So you can choose whichever voice fits your personality best. And that was an amazing collaboration to come through, an international collaboration there. So that's the Stargaze platform, that's Frontier, that's Atmosphere, that's our major 3 products that are going to be going live in exactly 3 weeks. So we're going to start the countdown, and I'd invite Q&A for now if there's anything that you're curious about. Yes?
What do you need from us, Geordie?
What do we need from you? Okay, so we definitely need, thank you so much, we definitely need our support from our community. Look, we're going to be opening up some funding rounds coming up. Basically, we want to grow, and I'll leave you with, at the end of this, with a bit of a future video, but we're looking to move into so many different fields. The thing is, we have the skills and we have the abilities to move into so many different areas and push these different technologies, all the emerging technologies out into those spaces. So there are a lot of changes coming coming. There are a lot of changes coming, and we can see where a lot of them are. So some of the great things, like we showed before, virtual reality and how virtual reality is being used in therapy and rehabilitation. We've started doing a few projects in VR and AR. So virtual reality and augmented reality, for those who haven't tried it, virtual reality, you put on a headset, you go into the virtual world. Augmented reality, you bring digital assets into the real world, which means you put on a headset, you see everyone that's here, you don't sort of block off from the real world, and you see holograms come up in front of you, and that's a powerful thing. So one of the major areas that's being moved into is a lot of those areas of virtual reality and augmented reality, those new headsets coming out. A lot of them will have eye control in them. We could see that coming a couple of years ago. So when we started setting up for these, we said not only are they going to be accessible on a computer or a PC, tablet, but we're going to make them right from the start ready to be deployed to virtual reality and augmented reality headsets. Imagine if the headset is on you and it doesn't matter which movement you've got, which direction you're looking in, the screen stays with you and it's still able to be controlled with your eyes. Pretty incredible stuff. So we're looking at where that's going, where biomedical technologies are going, how we're going to harness artificial intelligence for some very big things like diagnostics, for helping diagnose disability in infancy, and then move on to many other things. So what we need is the community support, we need that engagement, we need this stuff, these pieces of software to be spread and to be shared, these stories to move around the world so people are aware that this technology exists. Because I've still had people reach out to us saying that they would like to have eye control over something, and I'm saying, well, eye control exists, and a lot of people just don't realise. So we need to share these stories. We will be building out the business, we'll be growing, not for growth's sake, but to be able to grow into all those different areas that we want to move into. So we will be opening up funding rounds soon.
Hi. The technology is amazing, and we are an organization that provides support for people with disability. So my question is whether people under NDIS, the National Disability Insurance Scheme, can access the technology and the assistive technology part.
What we hope, we haven't sorted it out yet, but what we hope is that we are an NDIS registered service provider, and we're hoping that things like the communication tool, possibly even the music, we're still figuring that part out, will come under NDIS, so will come under the insurance benefit because it's an assistive technology. Yeah, and if and for service providers and our not-for-profits who do the amazing work connecting with our communities and prescribing devices and software, that will be another thing for us to connect in with. I think we have time for one more question.
So we've seen the technology that Stephen Hawking used. Sorry, up here.
I do not know where you are. There you are.
And I imagine that's what he used to write his book. How much faster is the superhuman speed?
That is a great question. Look, we actually have been working on a new communication tool for Stephen Hawking. So looking at how these things could be adapted, we were hoping to send him something in a couple of months' time. So that was pretty crushing. Look, Stephen Hawking is an incredible guy, and he's someone whose mind operates on that level where you're going, we need you to be getting those thoughts out faster while he was here. He was, from what we heard, around about 3 to 5 words a minute. On his glasses, he had a little sensor that would look at his cheek movements. What would happen is half of his keyboard would flash up, the other half would flash up. If he wanted to get to a single letter, he would move his cheek, and it would go from that part of the screen flashing up to the individual rows. It would move down the individual rows, and then he'd move his cheek again, and then he'd move across the individual letters, and he'd move his cheek again. And that's how he got a single letter out. Frontier, I mean, it is Nick, but Frontier has hit 44 words a minute, and in our trials we had people hitting high 20s quite consistently, and that was with no practice. It takes practice, but it's one of those things that grows and adapts with you with those different levels. What's Riley at? I don't know yet. I think he's going to have to up his speed before he shows anyone. He wants to beat Nick. I know he's slowly approaching him. That's the way. He's getting constantly faster every day. But that is it. I think we're over time, but please do join us outside. I'm going to bring out our team, but firstly I'd like to thank our sponsors, Regal Home Health and Telstra, for giving us this amazing venue. Just incredible. What an incredible venue. Now, thank you so much to everyone who's here, everyone who's come along and supported us on this journey. Every one of you is a big part of the Psykinetic family, and so many people here in the crowd today have gone absolutely above and beyond to help us pull this event together, but also to have supported us in our entire journey. So thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. Thank you, thank you. It's been quite an emotional day. I was hardly keeping it together while Jess is playing music. I'm going to bring out my amazing Psykinetic team because, you know, without this team, none of this would be possible. We've got a hard-working, dedicated team, and look, we are just a small family who have a lot more work to do together. Sophie Parr, Victor Limsilla, Jess Irwin, Steve Balby, Nick Temple, Riley Sabin. This is my family and this is my crew, and this is the team that make everything happen. We do have a hell of a lot of help and support outside of all of this, so thank you so much, everyone. Thank you for being here today. And we're going to leave you with a little bit of a glimpse into the future of Psykinetic as we leave. Thank you so much.
And now, a glimpse into the future of Psykinetic. We're aiming to broaden our collaborations and expand our research. Already having projects in many of these areas will deepen our development into growing fields like virtual and augmented reality, artificial intelligence, biomedical technologies, social robotics, prosthetics, brain and human-computer interfaces, and much, much more. From independence and creative expression, we look towards diagnostics, rehabilitation, and one day, hopefully, even treatments and cures. We thank you for your support, and this is just the beginning of the Psykinetic journey.